Well, hello everyone. Thank you for taking your time out today to join us. We've got some really exciting information to share with you today. We're excited to bring you the latest in Movitherm's iTL continuous monitoring solution. This latest rebuild introduces powerful automations, innovations that are available today, but really also setting the stage for the future of AI in our monitoring technology. Now, don't let the title 2.0 fool you. This version actually represents about our fourth major evolution in just 3 years. But at its core, this is a completely new architecture, one that ushers in the age of AI and intelligent automations. We're constantly looking forward to tomorrow and to what our customers will need. And iTL 2.0 is built to deliver on that vision. So, what prompted us to do this extreme rebuild? Well, we've been listening to you, our partners, and to the end users, and we've heard the difficulties. We've experienced the difficulties, complex setups, time consuming configurations, and systems that just require too much IT involvement. All those pain points really inspired us to take a step back and completely reimagine the experience from the ground up. When your customers come to you, they're not just coming to buy cameras and software, they're looking for you to answer difficult problems, solutions that'll help them see, prove, and act faster. And with ITL 2.0, you can confidently bring them a proven, mature solution that delivers immediate value. So as we talk about ITL and some of the things that have been improved, if you look here at this screen, it's a fairly simple screen, but what it reflects is the simplicity of our solution. And this is intentional. We've really intended to make the complex simple. You can't take the complex out of it, but you could absolutely hide it and automate it. And that is what we did here, and really went after that. So the cameras that you already provide, probably in some other fashion solutions, they become a major component of this monitoring system. And that everything connects into one simple platform. You can view, alert, and report on that. So the ITL gateway is designed so your customers experience what really matters to them. They want insights and they want action. They don't want configuration headaches. Well, they'll never have to think about linking a camera to a gateway or syncing it to a platform again. It just works. And that's the feeling we are now able to provide to your customers. It works. It's not all of this intense, complex setup, getting lots of people involved. And in fact, our engineers here are even more excited probably than everyone else because they were the ones that would be on calls for multiple hours, especially when they had someone on the other end that wasn't strong on IT side of things. We were having to educate them on everything, even just finding the devices. And again, we've automated that in a way that really brings simplicity to something that is a very powerful and complex tool. So what the three components of what our solution is, you'll see in the first one here, the camera that is positioned, and what's great now is our new gateway has onboarded a lot more cameras as well. So I think we somewhere around 15 more cameras that it now supports. And so we have a wide range. And where this really, I think, comes into play is many times our customers have different needs, and the manufacturers that we work with, and you're fully aware of this, but we work with the top 5 thermal camera manufacturers globally. But each of them do some things a little bit better than the other. And so it isn't always just one size fits all scenario. And now this makes it even easier to be able to find what is the right fit for your customer, your client, both from a budget and features that are available in the different camera solutions. Then the center one, this is the most important one, the iTL gateway. It does all the heavy lifting. It's what does now the automated integrations. It's the automation intelligence that's been built into this gateway is just phenomenal. It goes out and finds those cameras that are on the network. It then pulls that data, the ROIs that would have been created on that camera, just intelligently pulls that in, sets it up so that immediately it's now monitoring. And in fact, Liam, one of our engineers on this project, on this call with me, he's going to show you in just a little bit exactly how that works. And then the third component is the dashboard. This is what your clients interface with. And again, we've brought simplicity but complexity. It gives them all the data they need to see. If they want to get some trending, they can go back and look at historical data. Not only that, this is where they can set up who gets notified and when and how. All of these things can be built into and preset so that at the end of the day, they go and do their normal 9-to-5 job. They don't have to sit here and manage and babysit software. It just works. And that's the intention, again, of our newest system. So what's new in iTL 2.0? Well, I'll tell you, at the core, it is a completely rebuild of the gateway architecture. We know that there are so many things on the horizon for us. We already have our development map is full, and we needed to have a more robust platform to build all of those things on top of. And so that's what all that extra effort has gone into. But it isn't just about tomorrow, it's about today and right now. The automations that have been built in will make your process seamless, a great experience for your users and for you as well, not having to fight against the integration portions of that. And so you'll see that one of those there is the auto device detection. It also automatically identifies the ROIs that would be built into the camera ahead of time. This also, another feature that's really nice on the gateway is there's live streaming now. So when installation is actually happening, somebody can sit and look and say, oh no, you need to point it to the left a little bit, so that they can make sure that their areas of concern, the things that they need to monitor, are centered and fit appropriately. In fact, I got an email this morning, someone asking me about, well, where do we mount the camera? And I gave them some rule of thumb on what the field of view would look like. And this particular camera, it's about a 1-to-1, but it made it such a simple answer now. I said, it's about a 1-to-1. So if your target is 10 feet wide, you don't want to be any less than 10 feet, but you can be back further if you need to be. But just click on that live stream and look, and you'll be able to see while somebody's up on the scissor lift and they're adjusting it, you can talk to them and look at that in real time. So there's a lot of features that are being built into it. But again, I don't want to get too heavy into that because Liam is going to show you all these things and how they work. It's really awesome. What used to take hours now takes minutes, and this isn't lightly said. It is absolute truth. Again, I think Liam and team are probably more excited about this new gateway than even the end users might be, because the complexity of setup is dramatically less. And so that idea of having to educate the end user before you can actually direct them and to set things up dramatically increased. So I'm actually going to let Liam take control, and he's going to share his screen with you, and you'll be able to see in real time how all of these upgrades and intelligence work.
All right.
And we have it.
Sweet. All right. Yep. So this is the gateway. And so, yeah, you can connect a variety of thermal cameras to our gateway.
Liam, can you make that go full screen just to get rid of the edges?
Yeah. How's that?
That's great. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. So we got 2 devices connected right now. But let me disconnect one of these devices really quickly just to show you what it looks like to add one. And so we got our one device right here. We've disconnected our FLIR device. Let's add it back though real quick. And just in general, you're going to need to know the IP address for your gateway, which is going to be right here. And then you're going to need to know the IP addresses of your cameras, right? So if we wanted to add a FLIR camera, we're going to click FLIR, going to go to the IP address. And then we're just going to put in the credentials. And it's going to start connecting. All right. And so it's connected. And if we do a little refresh, times, got to give it a little second. And yeah, and so here's kind of like what the UIs for our cameras are going to look like. We got the IRSX and the FLIR. And yep, there they go. They come through. And so the regions of interest that you've already set up on your FLIR camera are going to show up right here. So we got a box 1, box 2, and then a spot. And so what's cool is that all this data is going to propagate straight through to our cloud platform. So we can go over here and see that we got our 2 cameras connected, the FLIR and the IRSX. And so let me show you kind of what it looks like to add an alarm. And as you can see, we've already added 2 alarms for the IRSX. We got one at 87. We got one at 150. But let's make one more. So actually, and we're going to lower the threshold of this one a little bit. And so let's go to the alarms, alerts right here. And so we already have a couple set up. And so let me look at which one we're going to want to work on. Yeah, let's do the filled rectangle. It's about an 84 right now. So let's get one. You can just go here. And you can edit your alarms, kind of customize them the way you want, right? And so you're going to see a temperature that you're looking for. So let's change this to 84. And if someone needs to get notified, they can just put their email, phone number, WhatsApp, or whatever way they want to get notified. They can put that in here. And when this alarm triggers, they'll get that notification immediately. You can also set up schedules if you want. So because there's no schedule right now, this alarm will be active at all times. And so, but maybe you only want the alarm active, 9 to 5 or something like that. And if that's a schedule that you wanted to set, it's easy just to set that up right here. And so let's go back to the details. We've set these at 84. And so we can just save that. And so we got the filled rectangle at 84. And then what we're going to do is just come back to our gateway and we can refresh that. And we'll see that now it's changed to 84, right as our filled rectangle's gone to 83. So let's put it to 83 just so we can get it to trigger to show you guys what that looks like. All right. And so there we go. It's triggered. You can see alarm's been activated. And so, yeah, looks really nice, looks really clean. All of the regions that you show or that you create in the UI for whichever camera you're using, they'll be shown here. And then we'll obviously have cards as well for them right here. And so let me show you guys another thing that you can do is we can actually set up these alarms to our IOs. And so we've actually already done this. And so let's get this active alarm that's already triggering right now. And we'll save these changes. And then let's go back to our dashboard. And if I start the live view, you can see we have live view for our FLIR camera right here. And if I actually go to a live view this way as well, and we can see that now that that alarm is triggered, we have one of our lights going off. And so when the alarm stops being triggered, the light will shut off. And so you can set up, fire alarms, sprinkler systems, things like that. For this case, we're just set up this light. And if we were to say change our alarm back to not being triggered, let me go back to our dashboard, and we can see that it was. But once we refresh, just give it a little second. And while we wait, I can just show you a couple other things as well. We have various upload rates that you can choose. And so for someone who uses needs to have some type of LTE or cellular plan, this is something that might be really useful. For usually in general, we'll have it at about normal. And especially for someone who has a cellular plan that might not be have that much data, you might want to have something at normal or a data save range. But if you have an Ethernet connection, you could go to max performance if you want. Let's go back to the dashboard. And so we can see that now that I've set the threshold to 85, the alarm's not triggered anymore. And so if we started the live view here, you can see that that light isn't turned on anymore. So yeah, so it's pretty sweet. And it all connects really nicely.
And for a little clarification on the frequency. So our system is an event-based model. So when there is not an event like Liam just showed us, it'll post data at just some sort of logic of time. So it doesn't stream a bunch of data, and that's intentional. It sends enough data so that you can kind of see what's happening if you want to see trending and such. But until there's an event, it is just a periodic posting. Now, the data set is very quick, but the image itself is more sporadic, and that's where it can be adjusted as Liam was showing you. But when it goes into an event, like he just shared, then it goes into this high volume. It pushes a lot of data out very quickly. So for multiple reasons, when you do get that alert, if it's a text, it's a dynamic link that allows you to be able to see what's happening as it is occurring. And so it's updating those images quickly. The data is almost instantaneous. So it's almost a live stream of temperature data. So you can see what's happening, because when you get an alert, you're probably not standing right there. That's the purpose of the text and this link that takes you right into the dashboard, but what is formatted to your device. So if you're on a phone or a tablet or a computer, it'll format that data to you, and you can be able to see effectively what is going on and how it's occurring, which I'll share a story in a little bit once Liam's walked all the way through this.
Yeah, exactly. That was a great explanation. So yeah, let's also show you, once you've added devices, they'll add straight to your dashboard as well. So if we go to this side of our cloud platform, we'll be able to see that too. So let's take a look, and actually just to show you, all the endpoints propagate as well. And so we can see the two boxes and the spot ROIs that we've made for FLIR camera, and then we can see the same ones for the IRSX camera that we made as well. And you can see the temperature data coming through nicely. We can also look at
this is where it is, it's almost hard to see. This is where we've made the complex simple, right? It just is there. But let me just tell you, today, as opposed to a month ago, the amount of time that Liam would have to do to take the information, connect it into the gateway, make sure that the gateway, he would have to individually create each ROI And then from there, he would have to go to the dashboard, which he's on now, and pull that camera in and individually set up each data set that's coming in. He's talking like, and here it is, and here it is. But the point is, all of that happened through automations. So now Liam can do what's really important, which is, what are the alarms? What are the things that are being turned on and off? And that's what we want to focus our customers' attention on, is what's important, which is monitoring, instant awareness, and responses.
Yeah, exactly. The setup time is just so much faster now with this because everything is essentially automated from start to finish. So super clean, really nice. And so yeah, so you can see that our little cards for the cameras, they show up automatically. We get our FLIR camera here, IRSX camera here, and their temperature cards display right there. So yeah, it's really nice, really clean. Let me just go back real quickly to settings.
There we go.
And I'll show you one other nice little feature that I really like. Is so when we're creating an alarm, right? So this alarm is active right now. And I was talking about adding notifications. If you have a lot of people you want notified, it could become kind of daunting to have to put in all those emails, put in all of those phone numbers. And so luckily, we have a contacts area right here in our address book. And so you can add contacts, and then you can actually create a contact group within that using those contacts that you've added. And so instead of adding, many emails to an alarm, you could just add a contact group. So let's say you make a group called, engineering. There's 2 members in this. And of course, we could add as many as you want. And then in your alarm settings, when you're creating an alarm, you could just add that engineering group instead of having to type in all those emails yourself. So it's a nice little feature as well. And then let me show you one other little thing. So we can kind of look at also, we have reports that you can choose. And so if you want like your endpoint data history over a certain amount of time, you can create those reports here as well. And so it's kind of also a nice little added feature that's a part of our cloud platform as well. Yeah, and so I think in general, that's pretty much the whole setup process. It's really simple. Any device can be added, and yeah. So I'll send it back to Todd.
Yeah, thank you, Liam. It's so good. One of the other things, as Liam was showing you those reports, something that's new to this rollout is an incident report. And what we've done is, again, listening to our customers and what is it that they want to see. They were always able to go back and you can export the data set showing temperatures rising and falling and images associated. But what we've done now is we've created an incident report where they can export this, because many times when something does happen, and I'm going to share actually one that happened late last year with one of our customers, but this allows them to be able to pull out PDF, talk to upper management, share with insurance. This has really been a really valuable tool for our clients to be able to go and back and review when an event has actually occurred. Story, I got a recycling facility that is here in California, and they had our cameras and our system in place, and it was in what they call a tip floor, and that's where all the trucks come in, dump. That's why they call it tip. It tips up and dumps it into this area, and it gets sorted out. And then they have a particular conveyor that the paper goods that they know they're going to bale in and send to paper recycling go onto this conveyor, because in the past they've had trouble if they bale it, compact it, make it tight without drying it out ahead of time, you'll get a smoldering effect and would combust and have fires. So they run it through a physical dryer. It goes out a conveyor outside, and then there's this big tube that's about 30 feet long and about 10 feet in diameter, and it rolls through there slowly, and there's a heater in there that runs about 150 to 160 degrees or so. And it had burned down 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. A fire caught fire inside of that because obviously it's elevating, and if there's something in there that would trigger, and it did. In fact, the conveyor, the way they found out there was a fire, the conveyor brought this material that was on fire back into the building. So they did not want that to happen again. So when they rebuilt it last year, I think it was installed in September of last year, and everything was working great. We had to get kind of creative where, because it was an enclosed furnace, you really didn't want to put the cameras inside. So we put IR windows on either end, mounted them outside, looking in across from each other. Well, in December, they had a fire. And hindsight, they found out that it was, upon investigation, found out it was a lithium battery that had gotten into that stream, which shouldn't have been there. And when it went into the heater, it went into thermal runaway. So when we looked back, I got a call from the facility manager, said, "Hey, we had a fire." And I was like, "Oh no, what happened?" And so we were talking about it. Well, we went back to his historical data and looked at it, and we could see the normal temperature was running around 150 to 160 degrees, and then all of a sudden, it was in the morning, it spiked up to 290 degrees. Their threshold was set at 220. They had a little gap, so say something kind of went high but then came back down, they wouldn't cause undue alerts. And so this is what happened at that moment. In fact, as I was talking to the operations manager, facility manager, he told me he was in his office and the audible alarm went off. So he jumps up, grabs his phone. Actually, he said he ran out and forgot his phone, ran back in, grabbed his phone, went out. And at that point, he looked and he had gotten a text, just as Liam was showing you how it works. And the text, as I mentioned, is a dynamic link. He opened it and saw immediately that it was coming from the dryer, which is outside. So as he was going down the stairs, instead of going inside, he went outside. And when he got out there, he said it was pretty much mass chaos. It was steam and smoke billowing at either end, as you can imagine, because again, it's a tube. And but as we were looking at it, you could see the temperature spiked up to about 300, and then it immediately started to drop back down. Well, that's because these are the things that happened when that trigger occurred. Just like Liam showed you, it turned a light on. So physically, it's got dry contacts at the gateway, and locally, you can turn things on and off. So in this case, it turned on the audible alarm. It turned off the conveyor belt because they didn't want fire going back into the building again. So it turned off the conveyor. It turned on the sprinklers that were zoned inside of that dryer, turned those on. And that's why we immediately saw the temperature go down, because the sprinklers were on and they were doing their job. Now, if you have any experience with batteries, once a battery goes into thermal runaway, you can't, water doesn't do anything. It's going to expend that energy, and it did. It went all the way up to 956 degrees Fahrenheit before it started coming back down. But because the water was on, everything else around that battery, it kept it cool from combusting. And there were a couple bumps when we were looking at that temperature profile, but within 16 minutes from the moment that it was identified with our system, the temperature, by nature of what we were monitoring, because it continues to monitor, was done. In fact, he got a follow-up text that said the threat's been mitigated. And he was telling me this, we're talking about it later, and he laughs because he got this text as the fire department's hooking up their hoses and dumping water on either end. And this text says, "Hey, everything's fine." In the scope of the moment, there was still tons of smoke and steam that were the after effects, but the source of the energy was gone. And all of those things happened autonomously because of our system. And afterwards, we're going over like this incident report, which he didn't have at the time. That's another reason why we built this, was so that he could pull this and share it, show the temperature rise and fall, show the list of people that were identified, show the things that were triggered and turned on or off, all of that in one document that he could then share. But it was such a great example of the purpose of this solution. And when I talk with people, new clients that are interested, I share this story regularly because it touches on all of the things. One of them was the manager wasn't sitting looking at a monitor. He was doing other work. He was actively doing his work at the moment. And then he was notified. So then he could turn his attention to. He didn't have to go pull a fire alarm. It was already pulled, theoretically. He didn't have to turn on water. He didn't have to turn off conveyor. All of those things at that moment, as soon as that peak was identified, and because of, as Liam was showing you, where you can connect up different outcomes per those threats, all of that stuff happened immediately. And so there's real value to your end users. And I would imagine you could probably come up with other stories from your area, but I share that because it's very powerful when you share that story. It's a true story that happened. In fact, he's on our website. There's a video of him that you could also link to if you wanted to share. So some of the other things we talked about a couple times there, and Liam showed you the different cameras. When he pulled up, you could select which manufacturer it was coming from. And as I mentioned, we added, I think we've got 4 or 5 manufacturers, but it actually increased about 15 different camera platforms on that, as well as a pan tilt. So for yours that might be utility based, where they're looking at very large substation yards. But this is what those links would go to. In fact, see the image there of the phone. That's that dynamic link. When you get an alert, it sends that out to you and allows you to be able to see in real time what's happening and what the threat actually is. From a deployment standpoint, we offer several different deployment scenarios. You can use the customer's existing network, which is the lowest cost because it's already there. You're just connecting cameras and gateway into that existing network. If they require that all the data remain on premise, we have a secure local solution for them as well as an option. And then for remote sites, we can support LTE, satellite. We even have a solar power off-grid installation as well. So if it's completely off-grid, we have the ability to create an installation for them. No matter where your customer operates, iTL 2.0 adapts, and not the other way around. We don't have to make them make changes. We can see what their needs are and give them a deployment option that works well for theirs. Just to talk about a couple applications, I know I gave you that story, and that would be the second window here about recycling. Recycling here in the States is a very big place. We're seeing this also, a lot of business opportunity in Latin America as well, but I'm sure everybody has trash, and so everybody's collecting it somewhere. And everybody has lithium batteries, which they're trying to keep out of the waste stream, but so many times it gets in there. So I know that even in your environment, this is an area that can really use our solution. Utility, the first image there, I would say that probably all of you realize that thermal's been being used for utility sectors since the dawn of time. I have been in the thermal industry for 18 years, and my early years on the hardware side were all with working with utilities, a major portion of my focus. Industrial laundry is another one that, again, in the States is really strong. There's lots of, because of the lint and heaters involved, there's a lot of areas where they have fires, and they have them regularly. I mentioned the battery, that's the second image here. So many things are being electrified, whether it's electric vehicles, electric buses, but even in the warehouse area and manufacturing, a lot of the equipment is now being battery powered. And so you have charging stations. Those are probably the area of highest risk, because the biggest risk for a battery is charging up and discharging down. And so we've got quite a few applications where we have installations looking just at charging stations. Battery backup. Just had a hospital call us and said, and this is being driven by the local requirements and agencies. The fire marshal said you have to have secondary early detection in their battery backup room. And so it's a small installation, but again, very repeatable. This happens over and over and over again. And so our system can so easily monitor and protect in those environments. I mentioned warehousing. So many on the retail side of things, retail warehouses, they're holding things that have batteries. And so those become concern. And wildfire. I'm in California. We had really, really devastating fires last year that burned up so many homes. And this has become a very strong topic in our area. But I'd imagine there's probably some of that for you as well. Our utility partners are becoming more concerned where they have brush around their substations. And so not only are they using our equipment to monitor the components to protect against failure, but they're also using it for overwatch for fire, early fire detection, wildfire. So there's so many applications around that. Another one that just came up is maritime. I've got two different companies that are asking, because of transporting electric vehicles from the States to local islands down in the Caribbean, that they are, again, insurance is driving this as well. They want early detection for hotspots because of the electric vehicles. So the applications continue on and on. From a manufacturing standpoint, any process that has heat can be a source of problem. This is where our solution really shines. So partners, how you win? Well, I'm going to tell you, for one, that you are gaining not just a one-time sale, but you can participate in the ongoing service of this system. And I believe that we're one of the only ones that do that to our partners. Most of them just allow resellers to just sell their system and then they're out of the picture. But we encourage our partners, those that are active with their customers, to be involved in the process. Because here's the other part, they'll scale up. I'm not sure if I mentioned this already, but I've got a large customer. They're a large battery recycling process company, and right now we're working the layout on their fifth location. They've got 12 locations, but in the midst of this, the manager from the first one that we did over a year ago, just came back and said, "Hey, we need 3 more cameras." And in fact, they just renewed their subscription. And so now with this new platform, to be able to add 3 cameras is extremely simple. We do some integration here, which we always do anyways before we ship them out, just like we would to ship them out to you. But the end user just has to plug them into the network, and all of that data, as Liam showed you, is very quickly pulled into the system and can be monitoring right then and there. One thing I didn't mention, in your screen that you're looking at to the left, there's an area that says Q&A. We're nearing the end here. I got a few more things to say, but if you've got some questions you'd like me to touch, type them in there real quick, and we'll make sure that we respond to that quickly. But so back to the expansion, the simplicity of being able to scale up. And maybe you've experienced this as well, but for a lot of my new customers, they usually start softly. They're not necessarily all in. They may buy enough cameras to cover their highest risk area, but they want to see how it performs. And I can tell you that we scale regularly because the satisfaction of the process and the experience that the end user has um, relays right into the fact that they call us up and say, hey, we want to add some more cameras. And so now even the experience is better. Um, yes, there was a question there. Can you get a copy? There will be a link to the video. This is being recorded, but as well, I will send you out the slide deck so you can see this also and be able to just review it. One of the things I really would like to set up meetings with each of you after this. And here's one of the reasons why. We had a partner down in South America. They were working with it was a steel plant. And we were coming in and they were setting up the system so that they could try it out for a week. And there was so much difficulty with the client's network. It was unstable at best. And the system would be up and then it would go down and then it would be up. And even though we knew that the cause was due to their network instability, it made our system seem not stable, not strong. And so what we did is actually this kit that you're seeing on the screen is something we developed specifically for that. This kit is all encompassed. It has a gateway that is LTE driven, so you don't have to worry about going in and finding somebody's network and connecting into it to be able to connect these things together. The PoE switch is already in there so that the camera and the gateway can talk and communicate with each other. There's a tripod in there. There's a place to carry two cameras, the cables to the right. All of this is in a Pelican style hard carrying case. You can't see it here, but on the right side of this case are all of the waterproof ports. So when you walk into an environment, there's a plug to gain power. And then there's the plugs for the network cables that can plug the cameras in. You can set that up in real time at any customer's location and open up your laptop, or if they've got a tablet that you want to open up, and you can see immediately that information going to the cloud and onto your platform. And so we feel so strongly that all of our partners need to have this, that we're making this whole kit. In fact, we went to one of the manufacturers to partner with this to cut their cost, which it's the Seek camera. You can have other cameras. So if you already have FLIR cameras and you're a FLIR partner, you can use the FLIR camera as well. You don't need to. But I would suggest, because the margins are so strong, that if you already have a Seek camera, buy this kit. And when you sell, you can take your existing gateway and sell it, and you'll have even better margins. Now, we do require all of our demo equipment to be held for 12 months to be utilized for sale generating activities. But if you want to, we'll actually take in your other gateway in return and give you money towards the purchase of this kit. But we know the difference between this and just having a camera and a gateway. This is completely self-contained. And in fact, I even went into a demonstration where they didn't have power. We were out, me and a local sales guy, we were out at a landfill, and there's no power out there. So I took a little, it's called a Jackery, but it's basically a large battery, and it was my power source. Walked out, had two things in my hand, laid down the truck bed, set this up, put the camera up, plugged it into the battery pack that I had, and immediately it was pulling data, and I could show them on the tablet. The impact was, well, as you can imagine, pretty strong, and we easily closed that sale. But back to what I'd like to do with each of you is let's set up a meeting. We can talk about, and I can clarify any questions that you might have about the new system. We can talk about this demo kit, and see how we can't support you in making 2026 just the greatest year that you have experienced in selling our solutions. And as I mentioned, it isn't a one-time sale. You're partnering with your clients in a long-term, ongoing, that not only you can possibly find other avenues of sales into them by being a part of this service, but also you recognize at the renewal, you're reselling this service to them. So we want to partner with you long term and be able to really see and help you with success. The other part is the portal. I'm gonna open that up here. And you should all have access to this. I know some of you are new to us. Maybe you don't have it yet, but um, make sure that you can log into this portal. There's a number of tools. We're creating new videos for this new one. There's some existing videos there. There's data sheets. There's support pitch decks that you can use. Price listing is there. There have been some changes there as well. If you can't log in, make sure that you let me know. Again, you're going to get an email. It'll have a link. It'll also have the attached slide deck that we've used here. But let's make sure that you have access to this, because these are tools that will help you be successful in selling the iTL 2.0. I just want to thank you for your time and learning about our new launch here. And let's set up a meeting where we can talk one-on-one and again, see how we can make this more successful for you. Thank you again. Have a great rest of your day.